Welcome to yet another creature analysis video. Today we are planning to examine every nasty enemy that you will encounter in the first Evil Within title. If we're going to jump right in, then we have to talk about the regular enemies that you will normally see in the world. These twisted and disembodied individuals are known as the Haunted in this universe. These creatures seem to be people who lived a prior life as human test subjects beyond the confines of STEM. Due to a synchronized consciousness, it is clear that Ruvik can clearly shape these individuals into anything he sees fit.
Assimilation of subject's consciousness. Initial symptoms: sharp pain and brainstem centered on insertion point, followed by gradual onset of hemorrhaging as capillaries dilate. Over time, degradation of the ego generates strong suicidal tendencies. They lose who they are and become clay, completely reshapeable in my image. But not me. Something keeps me from staying completely within.
He generally tends to shape these people into agonizing corpses. The typical motif involves barbed wire, chains, glass, and nails deeply embedding into their tormented skin. Even people who couldn't be properly hooked up into the system appears to be a creature who went after Sebastian relentlessly. The Haunted has some semi-conscious memory about their previous lives, which is all dashed away upon immediate revelation. The revelation that their human mind is destroyed in the real world, so all humanity is lost. The Haunted are simple-minded individuals who will attack clearly on command. Their goal is to devour the brain of all conscious individuals to regain some memory about their previous lives. Higher level synchronization with Ruvik's mind might initiate more power and intelligence against selective intruders roaming around inside STEM. This is the case with the doppelganger, as he appears to look like Ruvik, but he can use familiar looking claw ripples to kill any unsuspecting victim. There are special types of Haunted, especially in the case of the Cadaver. These monstrosities are born from the dead core of Haunted individuals. They are blind alongside using their protruding ribcage as a weapon. This allows the victim to be entangled against the explosive mass for gory results. A red cancerous substance aligns itself among the belly, and the creature is able to walk with his body bent in the opposite direction. The elbows contort itself as makeshift legs, which causes the creature to move quickly towards the next victim.
Aberrant brainwave patterns observed in subjects number 25 and 33, and now again in 55. The one common factor is a case history of dissociative identity disorder. Previous experiments on the prefrontal cortex led to degradation of sense of self, but there were unanticipated results here. Suicidal thoughts of alternate personalities exhibited as attacks on the core personality. As self-consciousness waned, a sort of stasis was achieved, like two creatures sewn together and forced to live as one, eternally hating the other. Delicious.
The alter ego is the result of a connecting victim who specifically has DID, dissociative identity disorder. More or less, this creates multiple personalities from deep within. Theoretically, an alternative persona could take over the mental wheel. This would allow the alter ego to take the mantle as a host. The alter ego commonly appears as a man with two split heads, like two conjoined twins in the process. Babies can also exist as alter egos, which implies that the infants aren't safe from Ruvik's manipulation. It appears that the alter individual is actually the cause behind this physical anomaly on the left side of the body. The ego is capable of spewing out an acid reflux in an attempt to wound their prey. These creatures aren't the brightest, but they are the most dangerous. The main trait about the alter ego seems to be the tentacle appendage buried inside of the chest cavity. Getting too close isn't worth losing your head over. The name trauma speaks for itself, speaking volumes for what this creature deals with. It's a twisted amalgamation for death and rebirth, a symptom of Ruben's verbal trauma due to the forced religion by his father. The trauma creature is a naked humanoid mass with a large wooden debris strapped to his back. The hands are heavily dismembered as another wooden chunk is attached to the right forearm. There's a metal claw at the end of this construction which can be used for long-range attacks. This creature represents the cruelest intentions behind religion. Wood is embedded into the flesh, obviously, and it shows crucifixion, which was meant for all heretics who went against Ernesto's dedication to the church. This symbolism is probably meant to convey Jesus Christ being nailed to the cross, since nails can also protrude from the creature's body in a pretty gruesome fashion. The Shigeo is an aquatic monster that came to life when a subject drowned during a testing phase inside STEM. Their subconscious became fully lost inside of Ruvik's mental threshold, willing to drag any trespassers to a watery grave. This creature cannot be pierced with any sort of gunfire, so the best course of action is to avoid her at all costs. As a fun fact, if you translate the term Shigeo, then it typically stands for demon fish in Japanese language. One of the most horrific things about this creature seems to be the open maw, which shows off some very disfigured teeth. It could be said in the Evil Within art book that this was originally a woman who disliked her teeth. This could explain why a device that looks like braces remains fastened on the creature's head before her transformation. You can see in the concept art that the molars of this creature seem to overtake the cranium before this was changed in late development. The body is quite disturbing, comprising itself of multiple arms, even at the tail fin, which enables faster swimming. The Amalgam Alpha is a horrific manifestation that accumulates every final thought from a dying victim that is connected to STEM. The amalgam is then warped and shaped into a singular mass that is created from multiple organisms. The serrated flesh, the chains, and the absolute pain from this creature is all normal when it comes to Ruvik's psychotic design. The defining trait is the tail-shaped eye that protrudes from the top of the mask. The eye serves as an active sonar, locating thoughts from anyone in the general area before hunting them down. Fear, sadness, happiness, anger, regret, etc. It could all be traced by this blind eye as the amalgam viciously seeks to tear apart any victims. The amalgam is able to grow into a larger mass based on fear or hatred when it absorbs Leslie into his body. The creature then stands into an upright position, resembling a Shigeo with giant teeth along with a malformed belly. This is the most perfected form in regards to the amalgam. The quell was generated by Ruvik's desire to remain discreet from all signs of life after he was burnt in a barn. This monster is equivalent to a chameleon in a sense. It is able to change distinctive colors to blend in with the environment at ease. It likes to grab its prey with its squid-like tentacles, ripping tendons from the human head with a pharyngeal mandible. This monster appears to reside in derelict tunnels, which lends credence to Ruvik's instinct to get away quickly. This creature resembles a human, a serpent, and a cephalopod that has extra barbs on the arms to wound the victim. This bundles the creature into one horrific deformity. The Sadist is a creature that was born from a unique merger. He was initially a murderer connected to STEM as a test subject. Ruvik's manipulation made him lose himself in the process. Heightened rage, bloodlust, and the intent to kill warped his mind within STEM. He's a large, overweight male. Stained clothes, skin discoloration, and shackles seem to align with this overall look. His weapon of choice appears to be a chainsaw, among other tools to potentially dissect victims one by one. He also appears to be locked away at a point to an unknown end as Sebastian investigates the area. Despite his knack for inhuman violence, there seems to be a moment of relative peace when the Sadist listens to Claire de Lune. Cutting up victims to this melody is certainly a first priority for the Sadist. The Heresy is a giant gelatinous creature with insect-like legs. This was formerly a test subject that completely lost his identity while connected to STEM. This goes beyond just DID or any form of a mental illness that is written for the history books. Regardless, it seems like the Heresy victim went on a full-on rampage, consuming any collective consciousness in his wake. It seems like an oxygen tube was needed to sustain life to the patient. An apparatus appears from the back of the head, burying itself near the cancer-induced pores that could be seen through the underbelly. The red mist is a humanoid-shaped enemy that you will find on Chapter 9, The Cruelest Intentions. There's not really a distinctive lore reason described behind this boss, and he doesn't show up in the model viewer either. I'm going to assume that he is yet another manifestation of Ruvik's rage, blood being the main visual key since he is bright red and he is cursing Sebastian. This is likely a personification of anger taking shape. It had been God's will that these two twin orphans survived. They were baptized and given medicine. Noon and his brother Zen quickly recovered, but just as quickly did their aberration process. Of course, they are twins, but for some reason, their growth patterns exhibit identical values. 12 hours after serum administered, Noon and Zen had the same width and height, body temperature elevation, pain in the lower extremities evident. 24 hours after serum administered, vital signs stabilized, sleeping in short intervals. 36 hours after serum administered, semi-conscious, speaking to imaginary person. 48 hours after serum administered, agitated, administered sedative. Noon and Zen are both orphan twins that were abandoned and raised in a nearby laboratory under the cemetery. There are some distinctive differences between the brothers that should be noticed, like Noon wearing a mask and Zen being the more cowardly individual. These two are massive behemoths. They are forces to be reckoned with. Chains are usually stripped to their body as a solitary act to confine the brothers. You can clearly see the right side of Zen's face as he suffers an abnormality which is only akin to melted disfigurement. This must have been obtained by birth, along with the inhuman posture between the two brothers.
Everything I have, everything I am, has been taken from me since the accident by those who seek to consume me. They are in the darkness, with only the phantoms of my mind to comfort me, to taunt me. I nearly lost myself completely. But then I saw her. Deep down I know she was only an apparition, but I would regain my face, recover what was taken from me, restore her, my beloved sister, Laura.
Laura is the deceased sister of Ruben Victoriano. While Ruvik survived the barn burning, it appears that his sister was not so lucky. She was the only woman that meant anything to him on a deep emotional level. Laura eventually formulated into a giant multi-limbed creature as a representation of vengeance. Ruvik shaped her image as a means of revival. The charred skin is obviously meant to symbolize the final memory that he had of his sister before she was burned alive. Anything involving flame will hurt the beast due to these repressed memories involving death and agony. Laura heavily resembles the Juragumo, which usually involves spider creatures who shapeshift into beautiful females. Laura could also be akin to the Onryu, which is another popular trope in Japanese folklore. You can mostly see it in things like The Ring and Silent Hill 4: The Room. It usually involves a female with long dark hair that contorts her body or appears as an apparition. Every month, offerings are brought above ground to the stone sarcophagus the owner calls the altar. 2 bodies, 4 bodies, 3 bodies, 5 bodies, 4 bodies, 7 bodies, 6 bodies. The church guard dog has begun to change. Just like the twins, the aberration is progressing. It devoured 6 bodies today, and already it howls for more. It has begun to stress is bars and chains and its fervor. I don't dare take my eyes away from that animal. It may think I am another offering. The Sentinel serves as the church guardian, appearing as a malformed wolf who attacks any intruder on church grounds. It was bred in a cult laboratory where it was raised to feed on the sacrificial victims. This is where the creature acquired a distinct taste for human flesh. It would eat up to 6 bodies at a time while hungering for more and more and more. Even the keepers of the Sentinel grew frightened with the reports of the creature eating its own handlers. Therefore, it was locked in a special cage and released only when the time was right. Ruvik's initial influence probably did affect this wolf, considering the stakes and barbed wire that surround the body. The mutagen obviously begins with the secondary maw under the jaw, showing a new mouth is present. Additional eyeballs also formulate on the left side of the face, which gives a horrific viewpoint no matter which way you slice it. The Shade is an enemy in the Evil Within DLCs, The Consequence, and The Assignment. It is a creature from Ruvik's mind that symbolizes desire to search for a new body. The creature utters these words similar to this before killing its victims. It has female traits like long legs and red Prada shoes. The body is wrapped in long, tattered drape that is covered in blood, along with a giant headlamp as a face. The light serves as a purpose to locate the hidden feelings of any victim connected within STEM. Things get really interesting or really scary when the cloak slides off to reveal a fang-shaped maw embedded in the creature's abdomen. It is alluded to that the Shade could also be a twisted representation of Julie Kidman's emotions as well, willing to do anything to get back Leslie and ruin the plans of Mobius.
That cockroach, that sycophant, living off me, feeding off my work. I'll have to figure out how we got the combination to my safe. But there's no time for that now. I'm so close. No one can ever have that data. It is mine. My only way. Whoever opens that safe next had better be ready to pay the price.
The Keeper is indeed the final creature to talk about in the Evil Within 1. He's a tall, ironclad individual who wears a safe for a head. He was born as a combination of Ruvik's final memories that detail Ruvik's fury when he was slowly dismembered after having his research stolen by Marcelo Jimenez. The Keeper carries around a bloody, tattered bag, which is used for stowing away decapitated victims, since the safe has an inner maw that can kill all intruders. This creature more or less represents the atrocities of Ruvik's past and everything that circulates around keeping that hidden. He also carries a massive hammer that will critically wound or impale anything that moves. Alright people, that is the end of the video. Content creation is hard. It is very hard because this video took me quite a while to finish, and I think future videos might take me a little bit longer, but trust me, the wait is well worth it. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to comment, subscribe, tell me what you think about the video in the comment section below if you enjoyed it. Hopefully I will move to the Evil Within 2 for the creature analysis, and hopefully I will do a sort of review on Swamp Thing that got canceled from DC. I kind of want to cover more horror stuff, but that might slip into the upcoming months maybe, because I want to sort of do this stuff, but I'm not going to make it for Halloween on doing these videos, obviously. So that means I might have to take some extra time out to do those. I will be doing podcasts, all that stuff. I do have a new public survival horror Discord. It will be in the description below, and we talk about horror games, horror movies, scary stories. We talk about that stuff all the time in the Discord. Be sure to join. I will put a flash screen of the video that I'm going to link. I will post the survival horror video and the invites and everything below. below so you can find it and obviously jump in whenever you can. If you love all things spooky, if you love horror movie night, we got all that here for you, fam. Either way, I'm gonna work on reviews, content, games. I'm gonna get back to pumping out stuff for you guys, and hopefully that turns out really well. Once again, I'm Renegade Operative. I'm signing out. See you guys later. Peace and be safe.